Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the All Sports Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Lachlan Turner.
I'm another one of your co-hosts, Liam McDonald.
And I'm your third co-host, Sumit Kadav.
And don't forget, everybody, the links to our socials will be in the description down below.
I'm gonna add in another thing. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're on YouTube. I don't think we ever said that one before, and that seems to be what everyone that does anything on YouTube says.
That's fair. That's fair.
That is very fair. So, well, I know it's a Tuesday, but tell me, guys, how did your games go on the weekend? Before we get started with all the, serious sport topics, how did your weekend go?
Very good. Very good. We won. We were playing against Nari South, and we had them after 18 overs. So 18 overs is drinks, halftime. We had them 3 for 90. And by the end of the 30th over, we had them all out for 136. So, we came back.
Geez, okay. So
they crumbled. They crumbled mainly because we were talking so much shit to this one guy who didn't seem to be able to hit the ball. At one point, he hit the bat. He hit his pad instead of the ball, and I was like, I think you're supposed to use the bat to hit the ball, not the pad. But what do I know? I'm a bowler.
Wait, what? Someone sledging?
No, oh, mate, I was shit talking like never before. Mate, I was shit talking like never before. Go ask Dan and Prath and Archie and everyone. Jeez. And yeah, I got a good run out, direct hit, side on. So that was glad.
Wait, you been a good fielder?
Oh man, if not a good batter or bowler, I'm a good fielder.
I don't know. I recall one specific thing where you watched the ball bounce right next to you.
Mate, that was 6 years ago, 6 to 7 years ago. And if you've gone there, you've already lost the argument. So don't even bother.
What? All right. Did you have a chance to bat?
No, we didn't, because we passed them 2 down in the 25th over or something like that.
What do you need to get to? So, in order to get the bonus point there, how many overs do you need to chase down all their runs?
I have no clue.
Liam, would you know?
I don't even know if we have bonus points.
Yeah.
Really?
I think a win is like 6 points or something like that, and then a draw is like 3, and then if you lose, you get none. So.
Oh, okay. I don't think. Well, the league that I score in, I don't think a win's worth 6 points. But
the funny thing is, we need to win our final game in order to be, in order to have a chance for finals.
Is it a top 4?
So we're not in the top 4 yet. We're just under. We're number 5.
Oh, okay.
In the next round, we need to win, and Nari South, who is number 4, they need to lose against Beaconsfield, which is the top side in the league. So Beaconsfield needs to win on Saturday, this Saturday, and we also need to win for us in order for us to go to the finals. It doesn't matter who else loses or wins, just these two. Yeah.
All right. What about you, Liam?
My team won. We actually batted first for the first time in ages. So I actually sat down and did the scoring book for 36 overs.
Ooh. Yeah, you remember?
And it all added up, so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, look, if it all adds up on the book, you don't need to worry.
Yep.
So yeah, we scored like 174 or something.
That's not bad.
That's
I took 2 for 30, I think, from my 8 overs.
Oh, so going just below 3 and over. That's
well, considering I bowled pretty ordinary. I bowled more wides in my spell than Berwick did in their entire bowling innings.
Oof.
How many did you bowl?
12.
I would have bowled like 6 wides, and I think they bowled 5.
Right.
Honestly, that's not the worst I've seen.
The ball just kept slipping out of my hand. I just could not hold the thing.
Was it slippery?
I don't know. It's just
you know when the ball is new and you've got like sunscreen all over your hands and shit. So
was it hot? Like where?
No, not really. It was just no matter how much I wiped my freaking hands and my clothes and stuff, it just did not help.
Okay. Well, what could I say? I due to a family emergency that I got called at about 5 o'clock on a Friday, asking if I could be somewhere for the weekend for a family emergency, and I said I have to do a few calls, and of course, or thankfully, I was able to go down there and like down towards like Hayfield. So that was, which is like about 45 minutes an hour away from Traralgon. Which, I mean, look, while with all the stress though, I was able to see somebody who I hadn't seen for a while, which was pretty cool.
How'd that go?
Yeah. But I was looking at the scores for what the guys were doing and the women. The guys bowled Endeavour Hills there for about 181, 187. And we had a chance to bat, but I looked at that and we were like 3 for 36 at the end of the day. So,
ouch.
But I'm pretty sure we've got finals locked. If we don't, we play Noble Park next week in the last game of the season. So that might, it's shaping to be a good day on Saturday. Good finish on Saturday because it looks like it's going to be hot. So definitely batting conditions.
Oh, not hot. I don't like hot.
Yeah, look, neither do I. But I mean, I can't complain because I get to sit in the air-conditioned club room. So
yeah, see, we actually play. So
I'm quite happy with that. Rather than sitting inside the scoreboard. But unfortunately for the women, they weren't able to pull off a victory. They were chasing 184. The women were in a lot of trouble. They were like 4 for 40 something, like Box Hill. We got to about 4 for 150 with like 9 overs to go, but unfortunately we fell 14 runs short. So and that's their season done. So it's the guys still standing. But look, I mean, I've had a lot of fun doing it this season. I'm obviously planning on doing it next season. But yeah, no, with the family emergency thing though, like, I mean, it was something quite special as well. So I can't really complain. But yeah, like that. I mean, that was my weekend, and obviously this weekend got the last day of the 2-day game against Endeavour Hills, and then they will park in a 1-dayer, and then off we go to finals, hopefully, which is good. Speaking of finals, or final, to wrap up a series just within two games. I mean,
hold on. Before we start talking about that, I have something else I want to talk about before we jump into all the nitty-gritty serious stuff. NBA All-Star Weekend just happened.
Okay.
And did you see the video? Did I show you the video of the of Mac McClung's dunks?
The dunk. The hoops that man has.
I mean, the hops. That guy.
Oh, the hops. I mean, not the hoops. The hops that man had.
Wild.
White flag. That'd be me. White flag. I can't jump probably a quarter of that.
But yeah, that guy pretty much carried the entire All-Star Weekend because that was pretty much the most exciting thing that happened.
Really?
In the 3-point contest, I think in the first round, Tyrese Halliburton broke the all-time record for most points. He got 31 points going around, and I think Damian Lillard ended up winning the 3-point contest.
Okay.
And then the actual All-Star game itself was apparently one of the worst All-Star games ever because there was no defense. Like, you know how in the All-Star game, even in the fourth quarter, they start getting a bit competitive because they want to beat each other? That apparently that didn't even
That sounds exactly like the Pro Bowl and the NFL. They just don't play defense because they don't want to hurt themselves. It's like, I mean,
fair enough.
Hmm.
But yeah, so but Jason Tatum dropped 55 points.
We're gonna have to just hold it for like a minute or two. We'll get back to it. You're gonna have to. Yeah, sorry. What? So, do you need my card as well?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it? Definitely 67.
Just transfer 70 just in case.
Okay. It'll be wide enough to fit just there, won't it?
Yeah, we'll just
It should be at least.
Oh, but did you say that
What?
Let me just find it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
No, I found the paperwork, but I couldn't find. Where
I'll give you the countdown and then you can keep going. That was my mum. She's buying the bird cage and the bird. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And I think, Jason Tatum broke the All-Star game scoring record with 55 points.
Oh, that's not bad.
He shot like 70% from the field or something. It's like,
that's extremely accurate.
Yeah. I think another guy on his team, Donovan Mitchell, dropped 40.
Okay.
Joel Embiid got 35, I think. But yeah, Team Giannis ended up winning 185 to like 170 something, I think.
That's definitely not defense.
Yeah, no defense whatsoever.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I mean, yeah. See, I have a couple of things about, and I've been, just while if I'm not playing game, on my PlayStation, I watch videos and I just watch, I watch a lot of like, just unsportsmanlike moments, and it's like, okay, well, these guys are dogs. There were two guys that really stood out that I watched, and I want you to explain, like, to me why they are like that, and do they have the right to act that way? Rudy Gobert, the amount of times in videos that I've watched and he's been ejected, has like, he just seems like a flog.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Does he have the right to do that though?
Well, it depends. What context are we talking? Like
is he like, is he good? Like, is he very, very good?
He is a good defender. Like, he is arguably the best interior defending big in the league. Like,
other than that, is there anything else that he's like?
Not really. He's really limited on offense. Like, his offense is almost exclusively someone lobs it up to him and he dunks it, or he like gets an offensive rebound and puts it back in.
Because he seems to do a lot of talking without.
Yeah, no, he does a lot of talking, yeah.
Without really having much to show for it.
Yeah, and he does tend to get he seems to be the sort of guy that wears his heart on his sleeve a lot, and it's quite easy to get under his skin and just absolutely set him off.
To the point where he gets ejected.
Yeah.
Which I assume he's done that quite a lot.
Yeah, he's not quite like DeMarcus Cousins levels of getting ejected, but he is up there. Or like, he's not like DeMarcus Cousins or Draymond Green levels, but he's
Yeah.
upper.
I mean, Draymond Green, though, he has kind of like, he seems to be a very good defender. Like, yeah, he's not a good like offensive guy, but defensive wise, he seems to kind of set them up.
I mean, on offense, he's good at everything but scoring.
Like, yeah, he's good at passing, and he kind of sets them up defensively. Like, seems to take on that leader role on defense. Whereas Gobert, he just seems like he kind of like he just looking at him and looking at the way that he's gone about it, he just doesn't look like he'd mentor anybody.
Yeah, I don't. Well, because the thing with Minnesota, right, is they traded a lot of picks to get Rudy Gobert, and it almost doesn't really make sense because their best player is another center who works really well with the ball in his hand. But if you have Rudy Gobert standing in the paint, you force everyone else to have to play outside. So it doesn't really mesh.
So, yeah, and have they actually performed to expectations after that trade or no?
No, they haven't. They were a borderline playoff team last year, and then their best player, Karl Anthony Towns, has barely played well when he's been healthy because he went and injured himself. I think
Okay.
he ruptured his Achilles earlier this year, so he hasn't actually been playing. But Anthony Edwards was a guy they took with the number 1 pick like 2-3 years ago. He hasn't been playing very well because he's very much an attack the rim slasher type of guy. But of course, when you've got Rudy Gobert down there, there's a center that's just always parked down there. So it's harder for him to score. And they traded their point guard for what did they end up getting for? They traded D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers in the Russell Westbrook trade, but they didn't get Westbrook. They got Mike Conley, I think, back, who's a pretty good point guard. He's one of those guys that for years he was always like borderline all-star. Like if they had one more roster spot in the all-star game, he would have been like next guy in sort of thing.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, one of those guys. The other guy, now, I mean, we could talk about Embiid because he just seems like an absolute flog, blaming everybody else rather than his flaws. Like, when he plays bad, he'll blame everybody else, which is not what a leader should do. But then again, he plays for Philadelphia, so it's probably fucked with his head. Well, let's be honest. Like, that city can do that to you.
Yeah.
But the other guy, and he just seems like a big sook when things don't go his way. And I'm pretty sure you know who I'm going to refer to. Booker.
Oh, Devin Booker. Yeah.
He is the biggest sook that I think I've ever seen on any sport field. He seems to be on a sports field, on a sporting arena. He seems to be the biggest sook.
I can think of a few soccer players maybe, but that's a different.
So, as in, like, it's all about them, and they're kind of one-dimensional because his defense isn't that good, is it? Or is it?
It's serviceable, but it's not like if you were, he would not be on the opposing team's best player at the end of a game.
Well, then no, he's not. Well, then by my standards, that's not good.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, well, that's that, and like I've noticed, like in the videos that I've watched, late in games, he'll just foul and like get himself ejected. It's like that's not. Like I don't find that acceptable at all. I find that pretty disgraceful, to be honest. And he seems to be the guy that doesn't just like work. I'm pretty sure I may have mentioned it a week or two ago where he was complaining that he was getting double teamed in a like just a shoot around.
This was also a few years ago when this happened. He was younger and a bit more.
He doesn't look mature now. Any more mature now than he did back then.
Oh yeah, but there's just different types of mentalities that guys have.
So what you're saying is this guy is what you're pretty much telling me is, and what I've seen, he's a quitter. He doesn't put in the hard yards. Like all the superstars that play, you can't put him in there because he doesn't obviously put in the hard yards off court, practicing and stuff. Like you can't tell me like the very good players get double teamed. And if he's complaining, yeah, it may have been a couple of years ago, but if he's complaining about getting double teamed, then how is he supposed to get better?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
that to me just doesn't sit well, because it's like if you want to get to that, those really good players, the elite level, you're gonna have to, deal with these things. One was if, well, I mean, he won't be getting double teamed now.
Yeah,
because
not anymore. Now he's got Kevin Durant.
So he's gonna do all this talking, but I can't wait, right, when they lose, say, in the second or third round of the playoffs, to hear what excuses he has.
Well, that's the thing. Last year they were the 1 seed and they lost to Dallas in like the second round.
And he was tormenting or really getting under the skin of Luka Doncic, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
And-
that's the thing. Phoenix really should have won that series, and then they just didn't, and they let Dallas back into it. And then Dallas were like, "Okay, we're going to win this. Bye bye."
Yeah, wasn't it the last game? The scoreline at halftime was something ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it wasn't pretty reading.
I'm pretty sure it was like Dallas led by like 50. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was almost if Phoenix didn't turn up.
And of course, you got your supposed young star. They're really just like putting in the hard yards, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, well, look, we can, if we want to get a bit more negative, what's Australia?
Hold on. Just before we do that, I've just seen some breaking news, and it's going to sink your heart.
What's that?
Merritt, 34 minutes ago, Merritt was appointed Bombers captain. And Andy McGrath will be vice captain.
Right. I really don't know what to say other than, well, this is just going to set the club backwards. I'll tell you why. As a captain, you have to be willing to do pretty much everything, most things the coach asks of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I read an article, I can't remember who said it, but they pretty much said that when Merritt was asked to play on the halfback flank by Rutten, he complained. It's like, wait, this guy wants to be a leader. And then did you see what he was saying last week about the defensive standards, like all on Fox Footy and stuff, saying that it wasn't up to scratch?
No,
pretty much calling his teammates out. But I went to 6 games where all this guy did was fucking jog defensively. And this fucker has the guts to fucking call out the defensive standards of teammates, but yet he's not willing to fucking take accountability of himself. Blaming the game plan. Oh, yeah, that's what fucking real leaders do. Yeah, let's blame the game plan. Maybe we're just too fucking lazy and don't want to put in the hard yards. Because that's what he fucking is. He doesn't want to put in the fucking hard yards. When he gets tagged, he cries. He cries and cries and cries. Every single fucking time. What, Bontempelli doesn't cry. In fact, he gets physical with his tagger. And yes, it may seem like he's got, but what else are you supposed to do to a tagger? They want to get physical with you, you get physical with them. But no, all Merritt wants to do is just throw his arms out and flop. Like, seriously. I'm baffled by that. Because when Brad Scott was coach at North, yes, this guy probably wasn't the best player, like, on the team, but he was tough, and that was Zeeble. Made him captain. Bremer Harvey, he has leadership. He guides the younger guys. As much as I didn't really like him as a player, I always value his leadership. There, in wanting to
Merritt might
no
embrace the role and really step into his own.
Look, let's be honest. Essendon overpaid him to keep him. 6-year deal.
Kind of have to, didn't they? They didn't want to lose him.
No, they didn't.
Okay, they can be argued.
The argument that I'll make here is that they could have, because I don't know what type of free agent he was, but if he was the free agent where Essendon could match it or not, they could have forced a trade, which meant they could have gotten 2 first-round picks for it, which is what I would have done. I would have done that. I would have let Merritt walk and used the money somewhere for, like, a couple of cheaper younger guys and develop them in the draft, or even go after another big fish.
There weren't many big fish to go after though, because
That year,
the
last couple of years. Well, they could have enticed to get the draft picks, right? And then you, for example, say to you could have gone to. I'm just trying to think of a realistic player back then that could have warranted that. You go to GWS and offer GWS 3 first-round picks for Jeremy Cameron. They won't say no because they know that where Essendon are going to finish. They know exactly what's going to happen. You can't tell me the Giants would not think about that.
No, I can't tell you that.
Well, they wouldn't have. And I know Essendon would probably, but then again, though, Cameron would have wanted to go into
a team that could win.
A
team that was closer to winning.
Yeah.
Like a Geelong.
Or a Richmond, or... Well, those two were pretty much the only two sides, or Brisbane, but I don't think he was going to go up north. But that's what I would have done. I would have let him walk. But no. So now what you're telling me, right? I don't know exactly what the numbers are, right? But I've had a look at them. He's all about defensive, right? And he was saying, we had to play a certain way, this and that. But when you watched them, it was like, but all you're doing is walking. So how can you criticize the game plan? But defensively, gone off. He's decreased since he signed that big contract. You look at the numbers, which I have, his numbers.
But there are a lot of athletes that do that. Like, the best year to have an athlete is when they're in a contract year.
Jake Stringer, for an example. Although he couldn't help that he got injured and played. Apparently, we all know how serious a groin injury can be for male
athletes. Was out for 2 years with a groin
3
injury?
years. It was virtually 3 years. So it's pretty serious. But I just don't get how Brad Scott can go from having a captain like Merritt, where he had in and under, tough as nails, guy like Zeeble. Right.
Well, to be fair to Brad Scott, he's just come in, and I don't know. I honestly don't know how the hierarchy is looking in the Essendon player group, but I'm not sure he can necessarily just come in and upheave the hierarchy, because I imagine the players would have voted him in.
Which is unfortunate. Honestly, as much as I give McGrath has shown more leadership than what Merritt does. Merritt does a lot of complaining, right? He does a lot of complaining, blaming. We saw him blame the game plan, but it's like, you are accountable for your efforts defensively. Not the coaches, the players themselves. And he's blaming the game plan.
Yep.
And he's like, maybe as midfielders now we can actually play like true midfielders. Well, if you weren't playing as fucking true midfielders, then what the fuck does playing as a true midfielder look like then? For them, I'm actually scared that this midfield ride, it's either going to go one of two ways, right? They improve by adding new guys in, which, apparently they have. They've got Perkins and Setterfield and Sartaz when he comes back from an injury. We won't talk about Hobbs because he's probably he won't break into the midfield group.
He'll be battling for a half forward interchange spot if he gets a look in.
No, as in like for his career. I don't think he won't last much longer. Because as I said to you about Hobbs, he just doesn't have the talent to warrant that spot. Caldwell has talent. He's shown ability. Fucking Sartaz has more talent than fucking Hobbs. Or it could go the other way. They play like according to Merit, 3 midfielders, and they rank bottom 2 in every single midfield category. Contested possessions, clearances, all the midfield, your typical midfield categories.
So you don't see a world in which this actually goes well for Essendon?
Under Zach Merritt's captaincy, no, I don't. Because the captain's got to lead by example, put their body on the line. Dyson Heppel, I know he didn't win a final. I understand that. But what he did that Merritt certainly doesn't fucking have is courage. There was not one game where I was like, Heppel's going to pull away from a contest. Not one game when he was captain. Not one game. Even when he had 2019, when he had a crook foot, he didn't go on the bench and complain. He put himself a full forward and single-handedly had the best last quarter of any of the players on the ground. Kicked a goal, which pretty much sealed the game. I can't see Merritt doing that. Not only can I not do it, he won't do that. The amount of times you saw him waiting on the outside, just waiting for an easy ball, just for him to just kick it straight to a 50-50 ball or straight to the opposition.
Well, I don't know. I didn't watch a whole lot of Essendon games. So.
Well, unfortunately...
You did?
Unfortunately, I did, and that's all he did. There's only one team that he seems to always fucking dominate, and this shouldn't surprise anybody because a rookie draft player in their first year could dominate this team, and that's North Melbourne.
Well, yeah, they don't have a lot going on at the moment. So
no, they don't. The fact that fucking Clarko's there's a small proportion that you have at the Hawthorn Football Club, like you could tell he doesn't want to be there, but that it is this probably one of the saddest days at Essendon, naming him captain. That's where I sit. Right.
Fair enough.
And plus, if we want to go one step further, McGrath can kind of relate to all the other players because he's around their age.
Saying Merritt might be a bit too old.
No, I'm saying no. That's not what I'm saying. Like Merritt's like 20. You'll be 28. You'll be 28 at the end of the season. It is actually one of the saddest days. And I will one day make the argument that he's one of the most overrated footballers to pull on an Essendon jersey. I will make that case.
Well, if they're still hanging around when that happens,
I might even do it next week.
No, you can't do it next week. That's like sort of end of career sort thing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Not the way the supporters have been talking him up.
You know what?
No, you know pretty much what I did with the Cohen medal, saying that you can't put Charlie Connell in the same sentence as, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. That's pretty much what I'm going to do with Merritt.
Yeah, but you're not going to do it next week.
Yes, I am.
I will find other stuff to talk about. I won't let you.
I will make sure that I have that to talk about.
We'll see what happens next week.
Oh, that's just yeah. No, I'm gonna make sure that I do because seriously, I'm gonna get crucified by some supporters saying, "Well, this is a sad day for the club." I'm gonna get asked why. Go follow another sport or like you're a flog. That's what I'm gonna get called. And you know what? I'm gonna be like, your words hurt me.
Well, moving on from one cheerful topic to another.
Fucking cheerful, all right. Australia.
Australia.
How do you go from leading by 1 run
To
and being
what?
2, 3 for 95?
To fucking 5, 6 for 95.
Not even that. 7 for 110.
Yeah.
It is honestly.
And they all
where
went
do
out.
you start?
Then they all went out to freaking Judasia again.
Like, I understand, right, that where do I go? Is it here? No, here. Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, I completely agree. just it's hard to fathom. But it was you would think after 2 sweep shots that okay, maybe playing the sweep shot isn't the best.
That's not the go. Well, I saw a stat that India played 1 sweep shot in their second innings. We played like 8, and we went out to how many? We went out to like half of them almost.
It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, and to make matters worse, now Cummins, Hazelwood, and it looks like Todd Murphy's picked up an injury as well. So there's 3 guys that won't be there.
Apparently, Cummins is going to be back before March 1st. From what I saw, he had to come back for a family thing, but he'll be back March 1st. Hazelwood's been ruled out of the series, so he's coming back to Australia. I think David Warner's been ruled out of the series. He's coming back to Australia.
That's his retirement. He won't be back in he won't be in the Australian side ever again now. He can't be. Unless he performs well in the Shield this season, or like the season coming up, he will not be back. He will not be first picked in the Ashes after his shit show last Ashes in England. He will not be picked.
I don't know. I still think that he might be in the squad.
No,
I'm not saying he should be, but I reckon the selectors are probably going to have him in there.
If the selectors have, you know what? Who knows what the fucking selectors are going to do because But like, I mean, so what? Cameron Green and Mitch Stark will more than likely back.
Yeah, but if Cummins is back, then are they gonna drop a spinner? Or are they gonna go Green as the second quick and play 3 spinners anyway?
Well, I'm saying you kind of need Stark because the tail end for Australia has been shit with the batting. Like nobody can wag. Mitchell Stark can wag. He's got a 99 as his highest score, so he has shown that he can bat. But
so was Cummins. Cummins, I'm pretty sure, was one of our best bats in the first innings. No, well, he didn't do anything in the second innings. He went out playing a fucking heave. So actually, it's probably not a good time to point out that Cummins can actually kind of bat.
Cummins can bat, but like, I mean, second innings. Oh yeah, we'll play a sweep shot, despite the fact that 5 other guys have been bowled with a sweep shot. So we're just going to go out like trying to play a slog sweep. Oh no, my middle stump's been taken out. I wonder why.
Yeah,
like it's not rocket science, but I think the bigger issue is right at the start, before the start of that test. Those curators were hell-bent to not having any images get taken of the pitch. But unfortunately, they couldn't stop that.
I don't think I saw any pictures of the second.
I did. And it was the exact same as...
They did the same stuff?
And it's like, okay, and the people argue every country makes the pictures suit them. And it's like, yes, there's obviously truth to that. But... everybody's saying, oh, well, we have a certain friend that was saying, oh, Australian pitches are bouncy. Hang on, Optus Oval, like you bowl at a full length and you get hit on the pads, it's more than likely going over. That's literally the only ground where that'll happen, right?
Well, it happens a lot of spots in Australia, actually.
And it's always when Australia are bowling. Have you like most of the time it's when Australia are bowling. Do you realize? Do you know that? Like, do you recognize that?
Well, yeah, the faster you bowl, the more likely it is to bounce higher.
Exactly. Whereas, like New Zealand, India, they don't have a bowler that can bowl 140 consistently. England have one, Pakistan have a couple, and Australia have multiple. So, of course, what are they going to do? Of course, they bowl bounces. Because most of the wickets suit batting. So, what do the fast bowlers do? They bowl bounces.
Because that's what they have to do. They have to unnerve the batsman.
Exactly. And then England, they make swinging conditions. I tell you what helps swing overcast weather. I'm sorry, but what's England known for?
Do England even know what the sun looks like?
Exactly. What India have done to the pitches, right? And this is not by any means like, look, India at the moment, they are, look, I know the test rankings say otherwise, but India are the best test side in the world. Like that,
Yeah.
No denying that. Australia quite clearly at the moment look like just flat track bullies right now. And the worst flat track bullies as well. Like, well, I'm not talking about but past sides, this current Australian side, worst flat track bullies ever. Like, no, can't deny that. But it's the way that they've prepared the pitches. Like Australia, England, New Zealand, they all roll in water the whole pitch.
Yeah.
That's the key word. Whole pitch.
Not just sections of it.
How hard is it for people to grasp it? That is not right.
Yeah.
If the curators don't get sanctioned for that, there is seriously something fucking wrong.
Yeah. That's the most annoying thing I've found in the arguments that have been popping up. It's that, it gets compared to like the green top that the Gabba had against South Africa in that series. And it's like, that is a completely different thing. The curator left a bit too much grass on the pitch and the game was over in a little while.
And the curator probably got sanctioned for it too.
I know the curator, I'm pretty sure they got in trouble for it. Like, and they acknowledge that, we kind of messed up with that one. But that also wasn't necessarily their fault because of all the rain that was happening around that time. They didn't exactly have as much time to work on the pitch. But it's just annoying that they're comparing a bit too much grass on a pitch that makes it bowler friendly to deliberately leaving the spots outside a left-hander's off stump rougher so that the spinners can turn it in more. And then the argument is, well, you guys should just learn how to play spin. It's not the fact that we don't know how to play spin, which I admit is a problem. We're not very good at playing spin. It's the fact that Steve Smith even said that in the first innings there was the one ball that would like turn massively or like stay low and stuff. Like, I'm talking about the first, I think it was the first test he was saying this about. I think it was on day one, there was always the one ball and over that would like stay low or spin.
Oh yeah, no, I recall him saying that.
And then in the second innings, there was
it was like one in every two balls.
And then it was harder because there was more balls doing it. But then but the right side wasn't prepared the same way. And it's just, but Steve Smith's a right-hander and he was saying that. So imagine what it was like on the left-hand side.
I mean, look, maybe let's be honest, they're probably doing Australia a favour by getting rid of David Warner earlier. Let's be honest.
Muhammad Siraj bowling bounces.
Honestly, we don't get me started on that, Sook. But and you know why I'm calling him that too. But look, as they say, it's on to the next. Which, I mean, if Australia get clean swept, they seriously have to have a good look at their leadership.
If Australia get clean swept,
I'm not very. The Ashes are looking very.
But is there also a chance we don't make the World Test Championship final?
No, I'm pretty sure we've guaranteed it.
Okay, so then we have to play India again in that, because I think India need to win one more test to be the other team in it. It's like, how are we going to... Because I imagine it'll be at Lords again or something. Then it's like, how can Australia then rock up for that and not just be terrible? because India will have the wood over us.
But played in a different country. It's not going to be played there. It'll be played in Lords. It's played at Lords.
Yeah, but would we still beat India at Lords? We couldn't even beat
Yes.
India in Australia.
Are you kidding? Mitchell Stark at Lords in swinging conditions. Good luck.
I find it remarkable how 2 summers ago, remember when everyone was calling for Mitchell Stark to never play a test again,
Including us.
and we were right there. I'm not saying that we were amongst the majority, and now we're all like, Mitchell Stark is by far our best bowler. We need Mitchell Stark.
He's the best swing bowler Australia have at the moment. But unfortunately, he's also the best intimidator.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing, which is why his body tends to break down a bit.
Don't worry, once we get the wild thing in there, there won't be as much pressure on Stark to be the
intimidator. Yeah, like I just.
What else is there?
So, well, I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, that's even the cricket stuff.
We've already done some footy. We've done.
Okay, no, actually, going back to football, this is mainly going toward a radio.
Oh, the SEN thing.
SEN. So, I think they started it last week. They have decided to do a poll about the best, the best AFL team since 2000. They're obviously going by season by season, not by
dynasty, like a team over a number of years. They're talking about individual seasons.
Yeah. So I looked at that and went, okay, well, obviously there is something there that needs to be said about that. Right. So yeah. So SEN have created their best, as I said before, best ever AFL teams, single season, not dynasty. And there are 2 sides that kind of stick out, but there's only one that kind of sticks out from the rest. And I tell you the side that is. That's the 2000 Essendon side. And here's why. They lost 1 game for the season. That itself is impressive.
How many game season?
Sorry?
How many games? Is it 22 games? And they lost once.
By 10 points. Their average winning margin was 8 goals.
Huh?
8 goals. Their percentage at the end of the season was 159.1%.
How were they able to put this team together with a salary cap?
That's a very good question. But, I mean, that side in itself had a lot of, they could call upon, say, for example, if Matthew Lloyd wasn't kicking, all the goals, and he won the Coleman that year, it was Scott Lucas. And if it wasn't Lucas, it was Hurd. If it wasn't Hurd, it was Michael Long. If it wasn't Long, it was McCurry. If it was the picture.
So the amount of players they could just throw at any problem was just ridiculous.
Yep. The only problem they came across was when the Bulldogs just started flooding their forward line. That was the start of the flood.
It was to stop Essendon back in the day.
That was the most effective way to stop that. It was the most effective way to stop Essendon that day.
And then obviously still only just beat them by 10 points.
Only 10 points. You know how ridiculous that is? You know how ridiculous that is?
No, how ridiculous is that, Lockie?
That is so ridiculous. It shits on pretty much every other team's grand final team. Pretty much. Obviously, when that side's healthy, of course. I hope I mentioned that.
Lee Matthews with his "if it bleeds, we can kill it."
I mean, I could also then say that at least half the Essendon side going into their grand final was going in with the niggle, Hurd, McCurry, to say the least. Fletcher playing with a fracture in his heel.
I could say the same thing about Brisbane's 2004 team against Adelaide. That team was patched together like so many of those guys were broken going into that grand final.
But more so with Essendon side because like between that 3-year period, it's like Essendon obviously only won the one flag. But if we're talking about single seasons since 2000, Essendon sticks out.
What are a couple of the other teams that are up there in terms of?
Well, the Port Adelaide side got knocked out by the 2020 Richmond side, apparently, according to people, which I find a bit ridiculous.
Wait, so Port's 2004 team got Richmond 2020 team.
Yeah, so people voted more for the 2020 Richmond side than Port Adelaide's 04 side, which is a bit fucked, if you ask me.
You know, I don't like Port Adelaide, so I agree with that one.
The other one was, I mean, for some reason, someone put the 01 Essendon side, but it's like they didn't really.
They weren't as good as the 2000 one.
No, they weren't. Well, they only won the minor premiership by percentage. So
yeah, but that doesn't mean they weren't still good. It just means they weren't as good.
No, they weren't as good. Like, in all seriousness, they weren't as good. I think the one that's going to really hurt that might compete with that Essendon 2000 side could be the 07 Geelong side, but
the one that beat Port Adelaide by like 100 points or whatever in the grand final.
But that'll compete them with votes, but I still think that 2000 Essendon side will get the votes, if that makes sense.
Were any of the Brisbane teams up there?
02, 03, and 01, but I still think the 2000 Essendon side, like they're talking about like just the season.
Oh wait, not finals and stuff.
No, including finals.
Oh, because Brisbane never finished first in those 3 years. So
like they're talking about the best, and if they're going to go by the best, you have to go by the side who performed the best, and that the side that performed the best, wins wise, percentage wise, was Essendon, the 2000 Essendon side.
Yeah.
So that would make sense, wouldn't it? So but yeah, so like that's that, and obviously I have no memory or recollection of that. I just have DVDs that I can watch.
I mean, you were pretty young back then.
Just a little tacker. I was only like.
Hey, you were at least born before the AFL season started.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of the way through it.
Yeah, I could.
No, I was born like halfway through it.
You?
Yeah.
The Brisbane side, yeah. Oh, that's right. Someone with his 3-0. Well, I mean, he's never been able to.
I don't think Summit's ever going to experience Fremantle winning anything because none of the current Fremantle supporters have ever experienced them win anything. So
yeah, I don't expect Summit. Well, I think that's going to cut it for today with all the issues we've had.
Yeah, but we better not risk technology screwing us over any more than it already has.
So we'll call it a day. We hope you enjoy listening to this, and whether or not you listen on Spotify or watch it on YouTube, whichever platform you use, keep using them,
please.
Forgot to add pretty please. We would very much appreciate it, and we will see you. Well, when we
do this next.
Yeah, when we next record, which obviously will be
whenever we figure it out.
Yeah,
because we are spontaneous and random and can't plan.
But we're at least doing it weekly. That's the thing. We're doing it weekly, so we're consistent.
I mean, we were just weekly last week. Put it up a bit late.
That's fine. But anyway, see ya.
Toodles.